Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
Hello and welcome to our coverage of the ECL Elite Division right here on twitch.tv/SportsGamerGG. My name is Brandon B. Major Bigsby. Thank you all for joining us once again. We are here the final week of the regular season, week number 5. A lot has happened since we last saw you guys in the Elite Division a week ago. The standings have changed. Multiple teams have gone through a litany of games, and we've got 2 more really big series here on tap today, starting out with the 2 teams you see right there on the bottom of your screen. Polski boys still in that playoff hunt, facing off against the Blackjacks, who are looking to avoid having to play in a relegation playoff. So 2 teams desperate for points that'll be facing off against each other. And then you already see some of the teams in our Twitch chat, some of the players, some of the potential people rooting for those 2 teams. 2 of the top teams in the division facing off against each other. A finals rematch in the Elite Division from last season. Parasite, the defending champions, going up against Mustaa Kultaa. That will be the series that will wrap up our coverage here today. But first off, we're going to focus on the 2 teams you see on the bottom, Polski boys and the Blackjacks. Let's take a quick look at the standings just to show you guys how things look heading into today. And again, remember, this is the last week of the regular season, so we are going to know our final 8 by Wednesday. We are going to know who is safe in a no man's land by Wednesday, who will be playing in a relegation playoff, and who will be out and automatically relegated. And as you can see, the biggest change, Last Dance in that number 1 spot, in pretty much full control of the number 1 spot. They're clinched to be in the top 4. More than likely, you're going to be able to have that number 1 seed, barring a pretty significant collapse to end their season. But from down on forward is where things really get interesting, and we can see a various amount of potential seedings. Mythics through Exen is really where you could potentially see 2 through 4 really shake out, which is why Parasite and Mustaa Kultaa is such a big series. Only 3 points separating those 2. Parasite holding on to that 3rd spot and having the 2 games in hand. That's really where things can really shift. And then you see on the bottom, the chase for the last few playoff spots. Totally, a team that many thought were going to be a championship contender coming into the season. Right now, their playoff hopes not looking too great. Goons currently in the number 8 spot. They are done. They have played all 30 games, and the chances of them holding on to that number 8 spot are pretty much sum 0 due to the teams behind them having so many games left. So they will more than likely either be in a relegation playoff or playing in no man's land, rather. Really, the biggest thing are those teams over on the right side. Which ones are going to work their way over to the left side? You have SSK Esports, who are in a good position. Same with VNexus. But you still have Polski boys and the Blackjacks that have a shot. Polski boys with about a 18% chance to make the playoffs. The Blackjacks at more like a 3% chance. That really is where these 2 teams are that we're going to be focusing on here in this first series. And obviously both of them wanting to avoid playing in a relegation series. For those who aren't familiar, maybe just now joining the coverage or just starting to follow along this season, teams 13, 14, and 15 have to play in a relegation playoff with the top 3 remaining Pro Division teams to keep their spot in the Elite Division, while number 16 will be automatically relegated for next season. That spot currently occupied by Nova. However, 10 games in hand over Vapor with just 5 points to make up. More than likely going to be Vapor or Onsei Esports that are in that automatically relegated position. But again, we're focusing on 12 and 13, Polski boys and the Blackjacks. Let's take a look at how they have performed into this point of the season. And as you can see, relatively even in terms of the goals against, 64 compared to 66. Really, the biggest difference is that Polski boys has gotten their offense rolling a little bit more. The stat will obviously show you 63 goals for compared to the 48 against. Everything else, though, again, pretty even between these two. A bit of a better power play for Polski boys, but a near identical penalty kill as well. Two teams that have been relatively even with one another coming into the day. Again, really just the offense of the Blackjacks has been what has been holding them back. Third lowest goals for per game in the division. Only Onsei, Esports, and Vapor have scored less. Let's take a look now at the starting lineup for both of these two teams. Starting out, Polski boys over on the left side. The forward trio, Tunkalia at left wing, Brakella at center, and Saski at right wing. While back on defense, it'll be Kugankira at left D and Vodi at right D. And in between the pipes will be Winchester. While over on the right side for the Blackjacks, the 3-4, it's Timosey at left wing, Klapkanex at center, and Profane Kiss at right wing. While back on defense, it'll be Tony at left defense and Psycho Skills at right defense. And at goal will be none other than the Eagle. Now let's take it position by position, starting out with the centers. And again, Brakella, the typical center for this Polski boys team, has been for so long, has really done a good job as being one of those two-way guys that not only is a goal scorer for this team, but is able to set up his teammates pretty well as well. You see those 21 goals, that leads this Polski boys team, so expect him to be plenty active throughout this one. While Klapkanex over on that other side, 19 points in 22 games played, probably a bit under what he would ideally like to see, but still someone that is able to step up for this team, someone who has definitely been far from bad, to say the least, is a player that we've seen before really be able to step up and make an impact. So it'll be fun to see how these two go up against each other here today. Now over to the wingers. I'll be slotting to the left and right of both of those two centermen. You've got the winger duo of Tunkelia and Saski over for Polski boys. Both have been phenomenal. Tunkelia leading this team in points with 43 as well as in assists with 26. He's someone that has really stepped in over the past season or two and been a quality addition to this Polski boys team since he joined over with them. And then Saski over to his right side, really complimenting him well as well. While for the Blackjacks, Timothy and Profane Kiss. Profane Kiss with his 33 points, the leading point getter for this team. He was an addition to the Blackjacks over the offseason, taking the place of Kermit. And again, Kermit, a difficult player to replace, but hard to really say that Profane Kiss hasn't done his job with those 33 points and 20 goals leading this group, while Timothy, the captain for this Blackjacks team, with 24 points in 14 games played. Not the typical production you would see from him, but again, the offense for this Blackjacks team has fallen off a bit overall, so can't really blame just one or two people, really just a collective effort, and the stats have suffered just because of that, but still a good player, still someone that you have to keep your eye on and circle on the game plan. Now moving over to the defensive pairings for both of these two teams. And again, these two teams very comparable to each other defensively. You saw the goals allowed, only one or two goals separating these two sides. And both of them right around middle of the pack, ranking at that, that 12 to 13 range in terms of goals allowed per game. The Blackjacks at an even 3. The Polski boys at a 2.91. And both of these two defensive pairings have had a lot to do with that. Both of them hovering right around at a point per game. You see for Tony and Psycho Skills right at that point per game margin, while Kukankira and Vodi just a little bit over that. So both of these two defensive pairings have done a good job. Interesting over on the Polski boys side as well. A lot more shots blocked and a lot more hits. So a little bit more physical potentially, that Polski boys side, something that TBJ are going to have to watch out for throughout this series. And last but not least, the starting goaltenders for both of these two sides. And you see Winchester, only the 2 games played so far this season, a 76.7 save percentage, getting his name called in a very critical series for Polski boys. It's been Mestari Tiku that has started the other 20 games. His stats not too far off from Mestari Tiku though, so not a drop-off necessarily between one goalie to the other. Winchester, someone that we've seen step up in the past, he will have to do so again here today. While for the Eagle, he has started virtually all the games for this Blackjacks team, all but 2, a 9-9-2 record, and that 77.8 save percentage that you see on your screen. We've seen him step up time and time again. It's going to be fun to watch here, these two go up against one another here today. as the two teams are matched up and nearly ready to go. We should be ready to go in about 30 seconds. And folks, our spring 1v1 sign-ups still open, just a little bit more time to sign up for that. If you go to sportsgamer.gg and you sign up, play in a competitive environment, a €1,500 prize pool that will be on the line. So make sure you go to sportsgamer.gg to sign up for that. But if you want something a little bit less competitive and a little bit more relaxed, you still got our 1v1 chill tournament as well. A much more relaxed. Sign up there if you want to have a slightly competitive environment, but not have to worry about playing with the prize pool. But still, you can go make sure and sign up for that if you were interested. So sportsgamer.gg if you want to sign up for that. We also have a code from our friends at Game Changer. If you go to GameChangerOfficial.fi, use code SportsGamer10 at checkout, you can get a nice little discount code. They have all types of great supplements. And then also our friends at WellNet giving you a good offer at health.sportsgamer.gg. Use the code SportsGamer1 and you'll get a 1-month free trial. They have all types of amazing exercises, including ones that are specifically tailored to gamers. So a big thank you to Game Changer and to WellNet for offering some of those amazing deals for our community here. As you can see, both teams ready to go and underway for the first of 4 games of our coverage here today as an offside already going to be called. So we get a chance to catch our breath a little bit as Klapkanex and Winchester at the face-off dot. We are watching from the perspective of Blackjacks wearing their all-gray uniforms. While Polski boys in their home red. Moving in the offensive zone as of now as Kinkelia put a shot on that was saved by the Eagle. Bothink has had it, but it's turned over. Polski boys shot from the side to the net, almost squeaked in past the Eagle, but he's able to get to that. Nice play there put on by Polski boys, but denied by better goaltending. So a face-off coming up here over to the right side of the Eagle. And Kelly had got to that, but turned over. Now the Blackjacks will look to move this up. Connects had it for a moment, but lost. But now Polski boys respond down the other end. Stasky controlling it. Gives it up to the point. Gives it back to Vody now. Working it up at the point are Tunkelia and Vody. Shot from the high point was blocked and found by Tony for the Blackjacks. They go down the other end with speed. Profane Kiss stops, looks, tries to give this over to Klapkanex. Trying to give it over in front, but turn it over. And here come the Polski boys down the other end. Tunkelia controlling. Checked away. Nice defensive play there made by Psycho Skills. GBJ worked this in the offensive end. Tony at the point. To the Timothy, though, this spot, the Klapkanex shot was blocked and picked up by Polski boys who look to move it down the opposite end. And he controls it past the blue line, trying to work his play past the defense, but disrupted. Now force a reset. Almost halfway through this first period, still scoreless between these two. Just one shot on net so far. That was from the Blackjacks earlier on in this period. Map it into the Polski boys. It's found by Tunkelia. A big hit there on the boards, but picked up and recovered by Brockella. Brockella spinning shot on, goes wide. Down to the point by Vody. Gives it over. Tied up there on the boards, and a delayed penalty going to be called against the Polski boys. So Blackjacks on their way to a power play here as they control the breakout in the neutral zone. Profane Kiss whips it back to Psycho Skills. Didn't like what he saw in front of him. To Klapkanex, puck loose, found, however, by Polski boys. So a power play upcoming here for the Blackjacks. We talked about the offense for this team struggling on the season. The power play has not been an exception. 14.3% coming into today, second lowest in the division. The only team with a lower power play is Onstate Esports at 11%. Polski boys clear it out. Now force the Blackjacks to re-enter the zone. Breaking it up, Profane Kiss with it at the boards. Moves it to Timothy. Back to Profane, could not hold on to it. Kugan Kira gives it up to Vody, but it's turned over. Blackjack still working in the offensive end. Cody with it to Timothy. It hit to the back of the net. Timothy strikes first for the Blackjacks. And a power play goal gives them a 1-0 lead late in the first period. As you take a look at the replay, how about the patience from Timothy? Had plenty of room. Puts that one on net, off of the piping and in. You can see right here, he just kind of stops, barely even skates. Takes one little step forward, rips that one on net. And Vody was just kind of having to sit there and watch it happen. A power play goal for the Blackjacks to give them that 1-0 lead early. Remember, the Blackjacks still a slim chance to make the playoffs, a little bit over 3% coming into today. Really, the Polski boys are the ones that have a shot at a little over 18%. They'll need some help. They need to collect as many points as they can get. Cannot afford a loss here against a team beneath them in the standings. So Blackjacks off to a great start, and here they go with the puck once again. 3-on-2. Cloudconnects gave it up to Profane in front. He gets it behind the net now and moves up to the point to Psycho Skills. Psycho Skills to Cloudconnects at the slot. Shot goes wide. Picked up by Kugan Kira and moved up and turned over. 2 minutes now remaining here in this first period. The Blackjacks, one shot on net, one goal. Polski boys now have it. Big hit there laid on by Profane Kiss. More of a smooch on that play, but nevertheless, Polski boys maintain possession. 30 seconds to go. Kelly with it. And the pass from Kugan Kira moves it back up to him at the point. Oh! In the glove of the Eagles. He'll hold on for the stoppage. 4.7 seconds now to play. Face off to the left of the Eagle, won by the Blackjacks in their own zone. And that will do it here for period number 1. The Blackjacks, a 1-0 lead after a power play goal from Timothy. That's one shot officially on net, but it's all it took for them to get that goal late in the first period. As again, a lot of teams that'll be watching this series rather closely. Polski boys still in the hunt for that final playoff spot. The Blackjacks still with an outside track, but they will virtually have to win out. They can't afford to drop really any points. We also have some series going on around the league as well. On, say, Esports, we're playing Nova a little bit earlier before the broadcast started. I'm sure there's some other teams going through their games as well. And we'll have our decision day of coverage on Wednesday here at twitch.tv/SportsGamerGG. So a lot of things happening throughout the Elite Division. Just got a quick peek at the stats there. Polski boys with the majority of time on attack, but pair of shots for both sides. We are set to get underway here for period number 2. We want to make sure we thank our amazing sponsors, COVID on Occupancy, Game Changer, as well as WellNet. Their generous support of SportsGamer and the ECL. What we do would not be possible without them, so make sure you go check them out at all of their websites and social media. There's a on there. I don't send it to the net, and Polski boy and want to beat. Let's take a look at how it happened. Never mind. We'll give you a look when we can find it, but nevertheless, Polski boys with a couple of quick shots leads to the goal. A 1-1 scoreline. The Blackjacks in control. Lose it, however, and Polski boys take over possession. Brody with it. Thought about slapping that one in, but decides to skate it and loses it. Timothy with it. Looking, waiting, trying to find an option behind the net. Goes up to the point to Cloudconnects and gets it back. Down low to Profane Kiss. Works it back up to Cloudconnects at that high left point. Slap shot was blocked. And a delayed penalty going to be called now against Polski boys. Tony working at the point and gives it to Timothy. Timothy under duress and finds Cycles goes a shot there from Tony. Saved by Winchester. Late penalty going to be called here. As the Blackjacks will now go on the power play once again. A perfect 1-for-1 on the power play. Psycho Skills has it at the point with Tony. Over to Profane Kiss. At the right boards. Back to Psycho at the point. Shot from afar. Swept away by Winchester. Old pressure for TBJ. Puck loose in front. Found by Polski boys and will be cleared out by Kugan Kira. Halfway through the man advantage for the Blackjacks. They're in the neutral zone. Checked away there by Stasky. Past the blue line now are the Blackjacks. Profane Kiss at the right boards, looking for an option and goes over to Timothy. Timothy skates forward, over to Cloud Connects. One-time shot from Psycho Skills, saved by Winchester, and he'll freeze it. Offensive zone face-off coming up now for the Blackjacks. To the left of Winchester, tied up. Won by Polski boys, and now they are back to even strength, but an offside called. As Rakella was a little bit ahead of Tunkelia on that play. Zone face-off coming up as we approach the halfway point of this game. Tied at 1 apiece. The goals from Timothy and Sasky. Giving us this 1-1 scoreline. Polski boys have possession. Set to break it out into the offensive end. Kira controls it, trying to find an option to pass and gives it over to Brakella. Good move to no avail, broken up. Battle for over in the corner board. Bill scrum for as Psycho Skills gives it over to Profane Kiss and now force the Polski boys to go back on defense. Profane Kiss controlling him, gives it to Timothy. We're at the right corner. Timothy skating, waiting, finds Clap Connects over the left boards. Back to Timothy, to the point to Psycho. Works it around down low to Profane Kiss. He gives it back up high to Psycho Skills. Trying to go down low again there to Timothy, but it's picked off, and here come Polski boys. Tunkelia dumps it behind the net. Buck raced forward and chased and found by the Blackjacks. 6 minutes to go now in period 2. Blackjacks in the offensive zone. Clap Connects with it. Behind the net. Shot hits the side of the net. And found by Brakella. Tunkelia puts on a move. Gets past the defender. Puck loose in front. Picked up by Timothy. But found that time by Tunkelia, who shoots it. Saved by the Eagle, who will hold on and stop it. 4:21 to go here in the second period. An offensive zone face-off coming up now for Polski boys. To the left of the Eagle. Left face-off one in their own zone by the Blackjacks. They work it up now. Dumped in, and the puck will be found first by Vody. Polski boys moving forward. And Kelia with it. Out of Brakella. Turned over. Polski boys get it back there. The Blackjacks are trying to move their way up quickly. Up to 2 minutes remaining now here in period 2. Remember, fast minute here in the second period. Polski boys have possession. And Kelia with it. Hits the post there on that pass attempt. Goes up to the point, however, to Vody. Sasky had it for a moment. Now goes to Tunkelia. Trying to find some space. A shot on off the blocker of the Eagle. Profane Kiss controls it now for TBJ and works it back to Tony. To Timothy. Broke checked away. And that will do it for period number 2. Tied at 1. As Polski boys were able to find a response early on in the second period. Satsky tying goal to make this a 1-1 scoreline after 40 minutes. This was the game-tying answer right there. That original shot on net that led to that puck going all the way up towards the slot where Satsky was waiting on it. It's in the back of the net where the Eagle was just not ready to get there. As you can see, the stats as even as can be. 7 shots apiece, about an extra minute of time on attack for the Blackjacks, but gotta remember they've had 2 power plays as well, so Really a pretty even game between these two sides. A huge 20 minutes of play coming up here. Again, a massive 3 points on the line for either of these two teams. 3 points for a regulation win, 2 for an overtime win. And for an overtime loss, then obviously no points for a regulation loss. Who's going to get the job done? We'll find out. Third period now underway as Polski boys have possession in the neutral zone. Basky at the boards, works it down low to Tunkelia, now to the point of Vody. One time! The piping has been the friend of a couple of players today, and it gets Polski boys out in front for the first time, a 2-1 lead. Second goal of the game for Saski. And the Blackjacks now down by 1 and looking for a response, but it's turned over. He's controlling it now is Polski boys, and a delayed penalty going to be called. As the Blackjacks will have to kill off a penalty as Clap Connects will head to the box. First power play of the day for Polski boys here. Profane kiss now at the dot. Face-off won by Polski boys in the offensive end. Working behind that shot on front save. Another shot. That one blocked. Another chance in front. Yet again. Another chance. Another save. Polski boys still working. Up at the high point. Rakela with it. Tripped up, and another penalty going to be called. As Polski boys will just take the offside, and a 5-on-3 opportunity now coming up. Polski boys, 26% on the power play coming in to today. 7th in the division. Tunkelia working around the face-off circle. The Rakela. And Polski boys double their lead to 2. And they're not done because they still have a 5-on-4 and a minute and a half of it. Polski boys working in the offensive zone here. Basky at the boards. Looking, waiting, gives it down low. Now up to the point to Rakela. Rakela trying to pass it opposite side, but nobody home, and now force a reset. 20 seconds to go on this power play for Polski boys. Give it over to Rakela. Now to Tunkelia, up to the point as Blackjacks back to even strength as the one-timer from Tunkelia, blockered away by the Eagle. Blackjacks now going to have to work quickly, down by a pair. Rooney over at the left boards, hit from behind by Vody. Here comes Polski boys working down the opposite end, but turned over. Psycho skills. Had it for a moment, but lost it. Keeping Kira controlling it with Vody. Tried to give it up there to Saski, but an offsides call. 11:50 to play here in regulation. Polski boys with a 2-goal lead. Face off in the neutral zone, won by the Blackjacks, but turned over right as they crossed the blue line. And if you're Polski boys holding that 2-goal advantage, gotta feel like time is your friend, but here comes Saski! Puck loose and found by Tunkelia over at the corner. At the point, Vody's shot swept aside by the Eagle. Polski boys still pushing, but turned over. That connects with it, but lost. Down by Kugan Kira, who will slow things down for Polski boys. 9 minutes now to play. Vody dumps it in the offensive end. Up given chase and found by Profane Kiss, but eventually goes to Tunkelia, and a penalty going to be called against PBJ. At the point, Kugan Kira working with Vody. Winchester joins the rush for a 6-on-5 with the extra attacker. Rakela didn't get that pass attempt, and another power play coming up now for Polski boys, as it will be Profane Kiss heading to the box. Face off to the right of the Eagle. Blackjacks trying to clear it out, and they do. Again, the big thing here, Polski boys a 2-goal lead. They don't have to score here. Just the time being killed off is really a benefit for them. But the Blackjacks in the offensive zone. That one-timer from Tony saved by a Winchester, and he'll freeze it. So an offensive zone face-off coming up for the Blackjacks here, despite being short-handed. Tied up and won in the defensive zone by Polski boys. Vody immediately giving it up to Kudenkira, putting on a move. From behind, picked up by Tunkelia. Capella at the left point. Shot in front and hits the post. The Blackjacks not even going to clear this out. They want to work it up, but it's turned over on that stretch pass. Capella dumps it in for Polski boys. Picked up by Tony. And up to Clap Connects, who gives it to Timothy. No fading kiss now out of the box. The Blackjacks back to even strength, but they have their work cut out for them. Down by 2, less than 4.5 minutes to go. As a breakaway here for Stasky, and he scores! 4 goals for Stasky today! And that one may very well be the dagger in the hearts of the Blackjacks. A 4-1 score with less than 4 minutes remaining. Polski boys now up by 3. We talked about the implications for the Blackjacks, but they needed to win this game to keep their playoff hopes alive. Polski boys in the same position as we approach the 2.5-minute mark, and the Blackjacks find themselves down by 3. Polski boys control it. Vody works for Kudenkira, who draws a penalty, and another power play coming up now for Polski boys. And things for the Blackjacks going from bad to worse. Faced off. Hook checked and won by Polski boys. Tunkelia lifts it over at the left face-off circle, tries to work it behind the net, but it's found by Tony for the Blackjacks. Moves it up to Psycho Skills with speed up the right board. On the pass and Profane gets backhand shot saved by Winchester. Up loose in front. Winchester trying to keep it out and does. Less than 50 seconds remaining now. Up dumped in, given chase. Chopped over to the side, but picked up by Polski boys. Kudenkira over to Vody, checked away by Tony, who tries to work it up. Dumps it in. Found by Tunkelia. Approaching the 30-second mark here now in regulation. Polski boys just watching that time drain as a delayed penalty going to be called. Excuse me, I saw the empty net there, but 4-on-4 now coming up for the last 23 seconds of this game. Face-off picked up there by Kudenkira, who took a massive hit. Psycho Skills picks it up, shot on, saved by Winchester. 10 seconds to go. Tunkelia moves it up. Kudenkira with it, poke checked away, found by Vody in the neutral zone, who will try to slap that in. Profane Kiss gets it, and that will do it. Polski boy with a 4-1 victory over the Blackjacks. They pick up a massive 3-point. And their playoff hopes just increased a little bit further. Well, for the Blackjacks, that virtually takes them out of the race. Came in with just around a 3% chance. They got the opening goal in this one. Things look good for TBJ early on, but Stasky with 4 unanswered goals on his own to give Polski boys a 4-1 victory over the team that sat just 3 points behind them in the standings, as Polski boys will now vault their way up to the 9 seed as of now. They came in at 12. Remember the benchmark right now, 35 points. Goons holding on to that 8th spot with no games left to play, so someone behind them bound to pass them, as we will bring you back into the booth as Polski boys take a 4-1 victory in game number 1. We will get things set for game number 2 between these two sides, but before we do that, you hear a word from our sponsors, take a short break, and be right back with the second game between the Blackjacks and Polski boys. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a few moments.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from Wellnet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, we are back and ready to roll. Thank you for sticking with us as the Blackjacks and Polski boys get set for game number 2 of our 4-game coverage here today. We are once again watching from the perspective of the Blackjacks in their home reds, while Polski boys in their road whites, as the Blackjacks in the offensive zone pass across there, picked off by Tunkelia. If you didn't catch the result from game 1, Polski boys with a 4-1 victory. Saski, the right winger, with all 4 goals for Polski boys in that contest, came in today with 15 goals to his name, make it 19 now, as Blackjacks looking to come up with a response here after dropping that game. They have it in the offensive zone. Shot on was blocked in front, and here come Polski boys down the other end. Saski moving it up with Tunkelia. Tunkelia gets it at the high slot. Moves it down low to Brokella. Tied up over at the boards. Kicks it back, and it's picked up by Profane Kiss for the Blackjacks. Up to Psycho Skills. Turns and gives it up to Timothy. Timothy at the left corner. Up to the point to Tony. Shot on was blocked, and here comes Polski boys with speed. Tunkelia, one-on-one shot goes wide. Nice chance there from Polski boys, but to no avail, and the Blackjacks now looking to counterattack, but turned over. No shots registered so far, but that last chance from Polski boys, the closest opportunity so far for either team. That's a chance for Saski, puck in front, shot, they score! Brokella kicks off the scoring for Polski boys, a 1-0 lead. Halfway through the period. So Polski boys with a 1-0 advantage. Brokella scores his 22nd goal of the season, team leader in goals. Showing you why right there. Gives his team the advantage, and they might not be done as Polski boys have it in the neutral zone, but an offside called right as they cross the blue line. 9:48 to play, over halfway through this first period. Polski boys, their first shot on net. First shot on net for either team. Finds the back of the net. A 1-0 lead for them, but Blackjacks looking to find a response. Profane Kiss works it all the way up to the opposite boards. Timothy with it. Skates in, shot on, saved by Winchester. Another chance as the puck is loose. But Winchester ends up finding it, and he'll squeeze that tight and freeze it. So an offensive zone faceoff now coming up here for the Blackjack. Face-off to the left of Winchester. Tied up, one in the defensive zone momentarily, but found by the Blackjack. Shot on, was saved by Winchester. There's another chance, another save. The Blackjacks now at full pressure. Psycho Skills works it down to Timothy. Timothy back up to Psycho Skills at the right point. Shot was well blocked by Tunkelia, but picked up by Timothy again at the right boards. Timothy looking. Moves it over to Psycho Skills. Turned over. Nice defense there from Tunkelia, who's just going to dump this one out. And now it'll be an icing call with 5:53 to play. So we'll go all the way back into the opposite end, and the Blackjacks will get another offensive zone face-off with full pressure. Face-off one in the defensive zone by Polski boys. Can they get it out this time? Struggling to so far. Kugankira dumps this, skies it over the heads of a few Blackjacks players, but they do eventually get to it and now start the breakout. Dumped in and given chase, found by Timothy. See at the left corner. Up to Tony. One-time shot blocked in front there. Psycho Skills was the one to rip that on. As another shot, this one from Profane Kiss, saved by Winchester. Here comes Polski boys down the other end. Sasky giving it up there, but turned over as trying to find Kugan Kira. Tony with it. Over to Timothy. Shot saved by Winchester once again. 5 shots, 5 saves here so far. The delayed penalty going to be called as Kugan Kira will head to the box for a tripping penalty, and the Blackjacks will now go on the power play. They scored on a power play in their first matchup. Went 1 for 2. Also, their 1 goal is on the man advantage. They're working in the offensive zone. Profane Kiss at the right point, looking for an option to pass or shoot. Goes to Psycho Skills. Skates in, tried to pass in front, but picked off there by Brokella, who gives it up to Sasky. Sasky in the offensive zone. Turning, looking, dumps it, rings it around just to kill some time. Just 35 seconds ago on this power play, 10 seconds ago in the period. The Blackjacks in the offensive end, one-time shot, broken stick there for Psycho Skills. Unfortunate there. And that's going to kill off the remainder of the time as the Polski boys dump it out. A 1-0 lead for Polski boys after 20 minutes. But the Blackjacks still with a power play here to start this second period of play. So get a quick look at the stats. TBJ dominating in terms of opportunity and shots. 5-1 in terms of shots on net. 347 of time on attack to 139 for the Polski boys. And really most of that time on attack did not come on the power play. They haven't gotten a lot going for them on that man advantage. But nevertheless, they still find themselves down by 1. Set for period number 2. I want to shout out our sponsors once again. Covid on Locker Sea, Game Changer, and WellNet. Their support of the ECL and SportsGamer. And it's back to even strength as Polski boys get a man out of the box. Even Kira joins them as that big hit will stop play due to the glass breaking. And that's going to be a fortunate break for Polski boys because that's going to give them an offensive zone face-off now coming up. To the right side of the Eagle. Tied up, 1 in the defensive zone by the Blackjacks. Picked up by Psycho Skills. Works past the defender. Looking, pass in front, shot saved by Winchester. TBJ still pushing in the offensive end. Tony works in down low, trying to pass it in front was Profane Kiss, but nobody there. Timothy ends up finding it. Turned over there on the pass from Psycho Skills, and Polski boys will now try to work it in. Get over in the neutral zone, however, and they get it back. Dumped in, puck given chase, but the race to that one going to be supposedly won by Tony. Maybe a little bit closer of a call, but I'm not an official for a reason. An offensive zone faceoff coming up nevertheless for the Blackjacks. 16:29 to play here in period 2. Polski boys holding on to that 1-0 lead. 1 shot on net as a one-timer saved by Winchester. That was from Psycho Skills at the high point. We'll do it all over again, this time from the other face-off circle. To the right of Winchester. Won by the Blackjacks. Timothy finds Profane Kiss over at the right board. Profane looking, giving it up to Timothy once again at the corner. Shot from the side angle was blocked. Polski boys now take over possession. Nasty. Kavody's shot was blocked in front. Another shot goes wide. Up by Tony and up to Timothy at the left board. Back to Tony, who gives the Psycho Skills now. And an offside called as he crossed the blue line. You feel like the Blackjacks have been so close to breaking through. They've tested Winchester plenty of times. They have plenty of opportunity, but just been yet to break through. Meanwhile, Polski boys, barely any opportunity, just one shot, and that's the one goal that they have. Have it in the offensive zone now. Keeping Kira at the point. Looking for space. Behind the net. Plenty of options, and he gives it up. And finds Vody at the point, but it's poke checked away, and Tunkelia will get it and reset. Tried to pass it up, but it's picked off. DJ with possession now. Tackle skills. Working together on offense. And the Blackjacks up at one apiece. Tony with his 5th goal of the season. Him and Psycho Skills working together. And a 1-1 score. We got a new game at the halfway point. Less than 10 to go in the second period, and the Blackjacks have just knotted things up. So we're getting a neutral zone face-off coming up here after the offside call, and it's picked up and won by the Blackjack. Those Skills dumps it in, given chase and found by Timothy. Check from behind there by Vody, battled for and found by Timothy. Those Skills gets to it at the corner, tried to give it over to Timothy, but the pass off, but found by Clap Connects. Shot from an odd angle, save made. The boys now pick up possession. Winchester 8 saves on 9 shots today. Polski boys didn't like what they saw and they'll reset. Vody gonna slap this one in the offensive zone. Avoid the icing as Sasky wins that race to the puck. Tunkelia spins, turns, pass across, but can't get the shot off. As here comes TBJ down the opposite end. Turned over. Oh, that almost squeaked its way past Winchester there. A scary moment, but Polski boys take possession. Approaching the 5-minute mark here in period 2. Still tied at 1. Moving up, it's Clap Connect. Turned over, and Polski boys now take over possession. Sasky in control of it. Working. Trying to give it to Brokella, but that pass was disrupted. Tackle skills over to Tony. Trying to give it back to Psycho, but it's offside. 3:09 to play. Here in period 2. The Blackjacks were able to even this thing up. Tony's 5th goal of the season, the left defender. Able to find the tying mark after the Blackjacks have been pushing the entire period. Polski boys looking to get their lead back. They have it in the offensive zone now, tied up at the boards, found by Tunkelia. They're in control. Flop shot from the point was saved by the Eagle. Offensive zone face-off now coming up here for Polski boys. Face-off to the left of the Eagle. Won by the Blackjack. Tony moves to the Timothy. The left boards, holding it. Turned over. Less than a minute to play now. Tony working it up. Gets past the blue line, trying to find Tunkelia, but gets it back. But checked away. Blackjacks with a nice defensive effort 3 seconds ago, but not able to move forward as a slap shot from Tunkelia is blocked, and the buzzer will sound to end the second period, tied at 1. After 40 minutes of play, the same situation that we had in Game 1, we will see once again in Game 2. 20 minutes to decide this one. Potentially more if these two teams feel frisky and want to take it into some extra time. We'll see what happens. This was the goal that tied it up for the Blackjacks. Tony working with his defensive partner, Psycho Skills, to put that one in the back of the net. And you see the stats, it has been all TBJ throughout the majority of this game. 9-2 in shots, 619 in time on attack compared to 402. And for Polski boys, they've just got to find some opportunities. They've had a fair amount of zone time. 402. Not bad at all, just have not really been able to take advantage of it. Just those lone 2 shots on net. We'll see where these two teams adjust as we get ready for the third and final period of regulation. The Blackjacks control it. Turn it over almost immediately. Vody picked that off and will move it up now with Kiro. Kiro with it under the rest there from Psycho Skills, but gets it off the stick. Tunkelia controlling it now. High slot shot on, saved by the Eagle. Blackjacks trying to get out of their own end, and they're able to. Tennessee up at the left board. Works in the clap connects. Down low now again. The Tennessee shoots. Kiss. And the Blackjacks take their first lead of this game. A 2-1 score. With their gold helmet wear and Profane Kiss getting them out in front. His 21st goal of the season. And they might not be done. Breakaway saved off the blocker of Winchester. That was Profane once again. Polski boys looking to respond after avoiding danger. They get a shot of their own that's saved by the Eagle, and he'll hold on to it. A 2-1 score in favor of the Blackjacks. Profane Kiss with the goal. He almost had another one on that breakaway, but he was denied by Winchester. An offensive zone face-off won by Polski boys. Ocala shot goes wide. May have been poke-checked away before he got it off. As here's TBJ, 2-on-2. Profane trying to pass it over to Tennessee, but not able to get to him. Polski boys slow things down. 5 minutes into this third period. Turned over in the offensive end, and TBJ take over possession. Tennessee at the left boards, up the clock connects. And a penalty going to be called. Boarding going to go against Polski boys. And a power play coming up now for the Blackjacks. Polski boys were able to clear it out rather quickly, but TBJ with possession here. That was Kiro, that was the guilty party. An offside, however, called against TBJ, so a neutral zone face-off coming up. Minute and 31 to go, on-the-man advantage here for the Blackjacks. They had a few opportunities. They scored on a power play goal in game one. That was the lone goal they scored in that game. Winchester moves it over, and Tunkelia trying to dump it out, but picked off by Psycho Skills. TBJ keeping in the offensive end. Cody at the point, gives it up to Psycho Skills, checked away there. Nice defensive play by Sasky to get it out. 25 seconds now on the man advantage, and an offside called as Tony was circling around at the high point and crossed that blue line. Neutral zone face-off here. 24 seconds to go on the power play for the Blackjacks, and the face-off is won by Polski boys. Tunkelia in the offensive end, but turned over rather quickly. As here comes TBJ down the other end. Kira now out of the box to make it even strength. Profane Kiss at the right corner. To the point to Psycho Skills. Gives it back to Profane. To Tennessee now. Tennessee, flap shot and gloved in by Winchester, who will play this out. Halfway through this third period nearly. Polski boys down by one and with possession to turn it over. A big hit there on Tennessee. Forces the turnover, but Polski boys not able to capitalize. Offside once again. .36 to play now. Blackjacks holding on to that one-goal advantage. Polski boys have possession in the neutral zone. Vody controlling it. Moves it up to Tunkelia. Pass in front, puck loose. Nearly through, but the Blackjacks avoid any danger there. Tony works it around the Psycho Skills. Pressured by Tunkelia. Poke checked. TBJ able to get out of their own end despite a little bit of forechecking there from Polski boys. Haven't seen that much from them today. The Blackjacks so far struggling with it right now. Finally able to work their way through, but turn it over right as they get to that blue line. Tunkelia in the neutral zone for Polski boys. 6 minutes now remaining. Bumped in by Vody, found by Tunkelia. Up from behind, up loose and picked up by Klapkanex. Turned over, however. Polski boys in a neutral zone. They've started to get a little bit of time with the puck. Brokella to Vody. Back to Brokella at the point. Looking for an option. Skating for it, but poke checked away, and now will force a reset for Polski boys. 3.5 now to play. Polski boys with possession, down by a goal, and a penalty going to be called against the Blackjacks. Tony will head to the box, and a massive power play coming up now for Polski boys. Down by 1, 3:16 to play. They win the faceoff. Vody to Brokella at the high point. Brokella looking, has time, gives it to Tunkelia, skates forward, turns, and front shot almost saved by the Eagle. Profane Piss trying to get possession. Tied up at the boards, kicks it aside, and it's found by the Blackjacks, but they can't clear it out. Tunkelia gets it. Up to the point. Brokella, one-timer from Tunkelia was saved. Another shot, and they score! Tunkelia ties it for Polski boys on the power play. They capitalize on the man advantage with just under 2 minutes to go. And the Blackjacks looking to find a response quickly. A massive penalty against TBJ works against them. 1 minute remaining, less than now. Tunkelia with it. Passes down low. Brokella with it behind the net. Gives it back to Tunkelia. He got the tying goal. Can he get the game winner too? Kugan Kira at the point, forced to reset as he crossed that blue line. 40 seconds now in regulation. Vody with it. Moving it up. Finds Tunkelia, but pass disrupted. And here come the Blackjacks. Klapkanex with speed. Bump from behind there. Takes a big hit. 25 seconds now to go. Tunkelia works it up. Trying to give it up to Saski, who's been held in check after a 4-goal performance in Game 1. And the Blackjacks now have possession, but an offside called. Psycho Skills takes a big hit there at the end of the play. 16.3 seconds to go. Klapkanex and Brokella on the faceoff. Tied up and won by Brokella and Polski boys. 11 seconds remaining. One last rush here for Polski boys coming up. Vody moving it up with Kugan Kira, but an offsides call. 16.7 remaining now. So just seconds here. Maybe a chance for Polski boys or the Blackjacks, but it'll have to be quick. Neutral zone faceoff. Won by Polski boys. Can't get it across the blue line. Tony with it. Poke checked away as Tunkelia gets one more shot, but it won't go on net. And that will do it for regulation. 60 minutes not enough. We've got overtime coming up, tied at 2. As Tunkelia's power play goal with 1 minute and 59 seconds left pushes this thing to an extra frame. Both teams secure at least a point. That's big for Polski boys because that means they'll come out of this series with no less than 4 points. That is a good result for them, especially considering that this game too, the Blackjacks have been the dominant team. Most of those shots on net came on the power play there for Polski boys, so maybe fortunate to come out of this game with at least a point, but nevertheless, that is big for their playoff hopes. The Blackjacks will get a point out of this, which will help them in their chase for no man's land. Again, they more than likely need to come out of this with at least 4 or 5 points to really have a shot at a playoff spot. That's more than likely dashed at this point, but you've got overtime hockey, folks. And it's underway on your screen. Want to thank our sponsors, Kovan and Lockety, Game Changer, and WellNet for their support. The Blackjacks have possession and dumping in the offensive zone. Puck given chase and found by Timothy at the corner. Timothy looking up to the point, gets it back. Timothy working, trying to find some space, but no options for him. As Polski boys are now going down the opposite end. Tunkelia goes back to Vody. Vody in front on the pass, shot to save. Up loose and found by Brokella. Shot from the point, saved by the Eagle. And it looks like the Blackjacks are going to take a timeout here. The Eagle has really stepped up over the last few minutes. He was not tested very often, really until about the 5-minute mark in the third period. And all of a sudden, Polski boys have woken up and have gotten some good opportunities, but the Eagle has been there for most of them. 6 saves on 8 shots so far, while on the other side, Winchester, 10 saves on 12 shots. Solid day at the office for both of these goalies. Defensive zone face-off here for Polski boys. One in the defensive zone, however, by the Blackjacks. In the neutral zone. Michael Skills works the pass, gives it to Timothy. Timothy at the left corner, now behind the net. Moves it up to the high point. The Psycho Skills, whose shot is blocked. Picked up by Timothy, shot in front, loose, and found by Polski boys. And Kira and Vody working it up now for Polski boys in the neutral zone. Brokella gets it and gives it back. Resetting now are Polski boys with Vody. Slap shot in the offensive zone, puck down by Stasky. Works it behind the net to Tunkelia. At the corner, up to the point, shot in front, tipped, saved by the Eagle. Polski boys still pushing. The pass from Vody was well off. Vody has it in the neutral zone, works it over to Kuden Kira, who gets tripped up in a power play coming up now for Polski boys. As Tony will head to the box. And the penalty kill of the Blackjacks going to have to step up to keep this game alive. They surrendered a goal earlier to tie it. Polski boys in the offensive zone, shot on, was saved there by the Eagle, and the Blackjacks will clear it out. Polski boys looking to re-enter the offensive zone. Little miscommunication there as an offside going to be called. To the 2-year score, for those of you just now joining us, had a pair of raids in the Twitch chat. Shout out to Bikawa and Samila for the 2 raids. If you're just now joining us, this is the second game of our 4-game coverage. Polski boys versus the Blackjacks. We were in overtime. Polski boys in the playoff hunt. The last team, or the first team out right now. They have possession in the offensive zone with Tunkelia. The shot on, saved. Another chance, another save there by the Eagle. The Blackjacks looking to clear, and they finally do. If you did just join us and want to catch more action, we'll have our second series between the number 2 and number 3 teams in the standings, Mustaa, Kultaa, and Parasite, a finals rematch from last season at the conclusion of this series. So if you like what you're seeing, make sure you stick with us because we've got a fun series on tap after this. But business to take care of right now as the Blackjacks have it in the offensive zone. Tennessee at the right corner, moves up to the point, shot on, saved by Winchester. It was Tony who let that one rip from the point. Up loose and found at the corner, but turned over. EBJ with a shot again, up loose and found by Winchester, who will freeze it. With 6:53 to go in overtime, and a timeout this time going to be called by Polski boys. So both teams have now used their timeout. Neither side will be able to pause again. How about Polski boys? They have evened up the stats compared to what we saw throughout the first 50 minutes of this game. Remember, for the longest time, they only had around 3 shots on net. And ever since about the 5-minute mark of the third period, they have really, really tightened this game up. Well, it's an offensive zone face-off coming up for the Blackjacks to the right side of Winchester. Tied up and won by Polski boys, but turned over. Oh, but the Blackjacks weren't able to take advantage. Profane Kiss could not hold on to that puck. Vasky with it. In the offensive zone for Polski boys. Gets it back from Vody. Up loose and picked up, however, by TBJ. Approaching the 5-minute mark here in overtime. We will go until we get a winner. Lap connects. Gets it to Timothy. Tried to pass it back to him, but it was picked off there by Saski. Polski boys slow things down. Start the breakout. Bodie tried to pass it up, but it was picked off, and he gets it back. Bodie over to Brokella. Turn shot on. Nice drop there from Psycho Skills to pick up that rebound. As an offside called as the Blackjacks tried to work quickly on that stretch pass. Offensive zone face-off here for Polski boys. 2:48 remaining. Tied up and one in their own zone, but not for long as Polski boys get it in the neutral zone. Bodie moves it past the blue line to Saski. Who counts that on save. Another chance. And a stoppage for a delayed penalty against the Blackjacks. Psycho Skills will head to the box. And another power play coming up for Polski boys. They are 1 for 2 in this game. Tied up, won by the Blackjacks in their own zone. Timothy up the left boards with speed, trying to give it over to Tony, but picked off. And Kelia working it with Kugan Kira. Gets past the blue line. Kugan Kira at the point to Brokella. Gates forward, holding it, looking, left him in to go, shot on, saved by the Eagle. Full pressure now for Polski boys. Brokella with space, shot on, blocked away by the Eagle again. Blackjacks trying to clear but can't. Brokella with it, up loose in front, still can't clear it. Brokella picked it off. He has it at the point now, passes it over to the corner, but found by Tony, and he can't clear it again. Brokella at the slot shot on, saved by the Eagle, and he'll freeze it this time. 30.4 left in this overtime period. 54 seconds left to go on the power play. Polski boys win the offensive zone draw. Brokella at the high slot, skating in, shot on block. Puck loose and found by the Eagle, who will hold on to it yet again. 22.7 now to go. Another offensive zone draw coming up here for Polski boys. To the right of the Eagle. Got the next jump the face off. One-timer blocked in front. As the Blackjacks clear it into the neutral zone. Kira gives it out to Brokella at the high slot, shot on, saved by the Eagle. He'll jump on that puck and freeze it with 7.5 remaining. 31 ticks left on the power play for Polski boys. You guessed it, another offensive zone draw coming up for them. One in the defensive zone by the Blackjacks. Can they clear it? No, they can't. Picked up by Bodie. Puck loose at the side of the net. Found by Profane Kiss. And one overtime, not enough. We will go to a second. Double OT on the horizon. Plenty of opportunities, but none leading to the winner. As the Eagle has soared over the last 25 in-game minutes to keep his team alive in this one. As we are still knotted up at 2 apiece. As you see the stats, 18 shots to 14 in favor of Polski boys. Who would have thought that? In the third period where things looked so good for the Blackjacks, dominating the time on attack, all of the shots, and they just could not hold on. As for those who are curious about some of the results outside of this game, we've had a couple fall in. Exit defeat V-Nexus in overtime 5-4, and also defeat them in regulation 4-3. So they pick up 5 of 6 points over V-Nexus in that series. Mythics also just defeated Nova 5-1 in regulation in the first of their 2 games. Nova played Onse Esports earlier, swept them a perfect 6 out of 6 points in that series. So those are the results of what have happened around us. Significant points for both Exon and Nova. Exon have officially clinched a playoff spot, just 3 spots remaining now. Polski boys looking to get one of them as Polski boys win it in double overtime. A move on the deke. A little bit of a broken play, but it doesn't matter. It counts all the same. Polski boys steal one over the Blackjacks. 3-2 in double OT. And I wonder if we can get a replay there of that goal. I'm not too sure if we will be able to get one or not, but Tunkelia, his second goal of the game, is the overtime winner. As Polski boys pick up a massive 5 points right on time. We were just saying how there were 3 playoff spots remaining. Polski boys, one of the teams still in the hunt. And they pick up a critical point to their tally, a 3-2 double OT victory, as we will bring it back in the studio. Does not look like we will get a replay of that OT winner, but Tunkelia wins it for Polski boys, 3-2 in double OT. A massive overtime win for Polski boys over the Blackjacks. They pick up 5 out of 6 points, which again, huge for them considering how tight things are in the standings right now. You've still got VNexus, who, by the way, were only able to pick up 1 point. So Polski boys have officially passed VNexus in the standings. That is massive for them. Granted, VNexus do have games in hand. Still a critical result in terms of the playoff picture. But for now, we're going to turn the page and move that aside as we have a huge series coming up. A finals rematch from last season. Mustaa will face off against Parasite, the defending champions, in a battle between 2 of the top 4 teams in the division. Before we give you the breakdown, the updated standings, and all of those things, we're going to take one short break, catch our breath for a moment, and be back with the preview, as well as those 2 games between Parasite and Mustaa. So do not go anywhere. We'll be right back in just a few minutes.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from Wellnet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.
Minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
All right, we are back. Thank you for staying patient with us as we get set to have a really, really fun series. Parasite, the defending champions, going up against the team that they took down at Winter Assembly just a few months ago in Mustaa Kultaa. As we're not going to waste too much time, both of these teams ready to go after that thrilling double overtime we saw between Polski boys and the Blackjacks. We do want to try to set the table for you in as complete as a fashion as possible. So really quick, we'll give you a quick look at the standings just to give you a quick update and a quick look at how things look heading into this series. As we just saw, Polski boys picking up a huge extra 2 points. They're now up to 34 points. That 24th game, not in yet, but they get that extra point. The Blackjacks also move up to 27 points, but that's not where we are focusing on right now. We are over on the left side of the board. Number 3, Parasite. Number 4, Mustaa Kultaa. 3 points separate these two teams. Parasite do have the 2 games in hand, but if Mustaa Kultaa can find their way to stealing these games, it could give them that opportunity to finish with that potential 3 seed, while Mythics more than likely have control of that number 2 seed, barring Parasite making a run. Realistically, it's going to be between those two for that second spot. So Parasite looking to move up to 2 or hold on to 3. Mustaa Kultaa looking to move up to 3. While Exton's still in the hunt as well. We mentioned them sweeping that series with V-Nexus. They have quietly crept their way into the potential of moving into that 4 spot. So a lot on the line here between these two teams. And obviously, whenever you get a finals rematch, there's going to be a lot on the line and a lot of fun. So we're going to see that here in just a few moments. Let's give you a look at how these two teams have done this season up to this point, heading into the day. And as you can see, Parasite, as phenomenal as ever, one of the best defensive teams in the league. A little bit less offense than what we saw from them last season, but again, they did break the ECL record for most goals for in a season. Not too surprising to see them still, however, making their way to goals and one of the best penalty kills in the league as well at 92.3%. Mustaa Kultaa following up their magical winter season with another solid spring campaign. A little bit less than last season, as you can see, but still a solid season nevertheless, as they've hit a little bit of a schneid over the last few series. They're going to hope to correct that here against a team that denied their championship dreams just a couple of months ago. Let's meet the starting lineups now for both these two teams, starting out with Parasite over on the left side of your usual suspects. For this Parasite team, Vatu at left wing, Benito at center, and Ardo, the former Mustaa Kultaa right winger, facing off against his old team for the first time today over on that right wing side for Parasite. Well, back on defense, it'll be Tombo and Teemu, 2 of the Finland representatives in the SG World Cup. That'll be beginning here in less than 24 hours. And in between the pipes today, it'll be Unique for Parasite. Well, the starting lineup for Mustaa Kultaa, Bobby at left wing, Laudane at center, and Alupekas, their captain, at right wing, while back on the fence, it'll be Nari Amal at left defense, and Mise at right, and Latvex, another Finnish representative for the SG World Cup, in between the pipes in goal for Mustaa Kultaa. Now let's take it position by position, starting out with the centers. Benito versus Laudane. These two centers, again, familiar with each other from their meeting in the finals just a couple of months ago. Benito with yet another spectacular season, 48 points in 22 games, 24 goals and 24 assists, so it gets to kind of show you that even distribution and what he's been able to produce offensively. Laudane just the 29 points in the 22 games played, but don't let that fool you. He is someone that can definitely make some plays, even though, again, the point tallies for Mustaa Kultaa may be a little bit lower than what you would expect from this team that has been so dynamic offensively over the past few seasons. Now I'll move over to the wingers for both of these two teams. And again, Vatu doing what Vatu does, one of the best goal scorers in the entire division, 30 goals so far this season in 22 games played, 49 points, 140 shots as well. He's someone that, Mustaa Kultaa are going to have circled in, and their former teammate in Ardo, who has started to get his feet under him as the season has progressed along, struggled a little bit coming into the season, but 36 points in 22 games played, not his numbers from when he was with Mustaa Kultaa, but still has had a very productive season nevertheless, and is finding his rhythm, finding his comfort level within this Parasite lineup. Bobby has really been the big addition for Mustaa Kultaa over on that left side. Came over from Exen, struggled with that Exen team to start the season, but he has really fit well with this Mustaa Kultaa side and comes in with Alupekas over at his right wing, who has 22 goals for this team, the captain of this Mustaa Kultaa team. Now back on the defense for both of these two sides, the stellar defensive pairing of Tombo and Teemu, another spectacular season. They have been the best defensive pairing in the division. I don't think many people would argue that. You could make that case as well for the defensive pairing of Lundstrom and company over at Last Dance, but nevertheless, this is still a very, very good defensive pairing, and they've shown you why so far this season, while Naryamal and Mise have been very, very solid in their own right. As you can see, two defensive pairings that really do have a lot to offer, can step up and steal any series for you, and now we get to see them go head-to-head here for another season, so it's going to be interesting to see which side can step up and get the better of the other, and we saw goaltending be a big factor in the last series. I'm sure it's going to be a big factor in this series as well. Two of the best in the Elite Division, and Unique and Latvex facing off. You see Unique, 10 games played at 80.8 save percentage. He has been splitting time with Vincere, as both of them have been kind of back and forth, both around the same stats at that 80 save percentage mark. Well, Latvex, he has been splitting time with Carlson Adam, 12 games for each. Latvex with an 82.4 save percentage, and it's not often that you see two teams with two goalies that could easily play all 30 games for just about any other team in the division. These two teams have that. Unique and Latvex, two of the best that you will find in the division. We're going to get to see them go head-to-head as the two teams have matched up, and looks like we're about ready to go. And when we do have a little bit of time, I want to put you on to a deal from our friends at Game Changer. If you go to GameChangerOfficial.fi, put in the code SportsGamer10 at checkout, you can get a discount code on your purchase. They have all types of amazing supplements, whether it's for performance, immunity boosts, whether you want to relax a little bit, or whether you just want to focus. 2 capsules a day is all it takes. They have so many great products, great quality as well. If you use that code SportsGamer10 at checkout, they'll give you a nice little discount code on your final purchase. A big thank you to Game Changer for their support, as well as hooking the community up with a nice deal. And they're not the only ones. Our friends at WellNet also have an offer for the community. If you go to health.sportsgamer.gg and put in the code SportsGamer1, they're offering a 1-month free trial. They have all types of amazing exercises, even exercises that are specifically curtailed to gamers. So I know it's a little bit difficult sometimes to get out and work out. You got to find a gym, you got to go outside, you have a busy schedule, maybe you have some ECL games to play. WellNet makes it easy, all from the power of your phone. So a big thank you to WellNet for giving us that offer, as these two teams are underway and ready to go. Game number 1 between these two, a finals rematch from the winter season, as we are watching from the perspective of Mustaa Kultaa wearing their road whites, while Parasite in their home reds on the opposite end, as they have it in the offensive zone now, as Tombo with his shot was blocked in front by Launenay. Tombo gets it back at the high point, breaking it down low. Back up to the point now to Teemu. Teemu holding it, giving it up to Ardo. Ardo over to Vatu. Now back up to the point to Tombo. You'll see the cycle for Parasite throughout the day. They love to work that puck around. They'll pass up on a good opportunity to get a great opportunity. That's the name of their game. It's been successful for them for many years. Battling off that 5-man trap. Mustaa Kultaa looked to break it there, but weren't able to. Vatu has it on the pass from Benito. Works it down low. Benito controlling it and gives it up to the point to Teemu. Teemu at the high slot, skating in, looking for an option to pass or shoot. Finds Vatu. Goes down low over to Benito from behind. And turned over as Bobby will get it and move it up to Mise with speed. the right board. Stops and rings it around. Picked up by Teemu. Neither team with a shot on net so far. Granted, Parasite has had most of the time in attack so far as they're in the offensive zone now. Benito trying to work it down low. Gets it back at the corner. Benito working with Teemu. Trying to pass it up to Vatu, but picked off. Now Lepekas will take it and slow things down for Mustaa Kultaa. Almost halfway through this first period. No shots yet, but Parasite with some offensive zone time. Mustaa Kultaa with a little bit of their own here now as Bobby has it. Controlling it over at the corner. Shot on there was saved. Another shot by Nike. Oh, that was a robbery there from Nike. And an offensive zone face-off coming up now here for Mustaa Kultaa. Tied up and one in the defensive zone by Parasite. Sambo will break it in and finds Vatu. Vatu looking, goes back to Tombo behind him. Skates forward, finds Ardo, pass in front. Ooh. Kicks off the scoring for Parasite. And it's a 1-0 advantage for the defending champs. Vatu, his 31st goal of the season. Broke the ECL record for most goals and points in a season during the winter campaign. He kicks off the scoring here in this series as Parasite will now go on the power play. A penalty called against Alupekas. Excuse me, against Laudene. Alupekas is taking over the center spot for him. Parasite have it in the offensive zone. Tombo with it, skating forward, looking for an option to shoot or pass, but nothing there yet. Will has it. And it's a 2-0 lead now for Parasite. Vatu. 32 goals now on the season. That ranks second in the entire division, only behind Puanzo. Mustaa Kultaa on their heels early, but in the offensive zone as the pass attempt to Alupekas turned over. And here comes Tombo working it up. Benito to Vatu. Back to Benito. Benito poke check from behind. Picked up by Mise. Mustaa Kultaa take over possession and really need to get a change of momentum here. Pair of back-to-back goals in just a matter of a few minutes there for Parasite, both from Vatu. As we mentioned, was a record breaker, record shatterer a season ago. 127 points, over 70 goals. Phenomenal performance from him so far today. Is save there made by Latvex. His first save of the game. So here come Mustaa Kultaa. Alupekas with a move shot on, saved there by Unique. Parasite now with possession. Out for at the boards. Around and found by Vatu. Up the Tombo at the point. Shot on from Teemu. Saved by Latvex. Well, seconds here for Mustaa Kultaa. Alupekas with it. Not going to be able to get a shot off, as that will do it for the opening period of this 2-game series. And it has been all Parasite. Vatu with both goals. One in even strength with that one-timer right there, and the other on the power play to give Parasite a 2-0 lead over Mustaa Kultaa after the opening 20 minutes. Get a quick look at the stats. Again, Parasite with the heavy advantages is that first goal where Vatu is able to just kind of pick that puck up in front. Jarred loose, and then on the power play, Benito able to find, Tombo able to find him on the one-time shot to give him that advantage. 2-0 lead for Parasite over Mustaa. I want to thank our sponsors as we get set for the second period. Big shout out to Coven on Occupancy, Game Changer, as well as Wellnet for their support. Again, both Game Changer and Wellnet offering some deals to the community that you can find in the chat with the link from Nightbot in the description. From GameChangerOfficial.fi. The breakaway save there by Latvex. Vatu is looking for the hat-trick goal, but he's denied by the rookie of the season from the winter campaign, Latvex. Offensive zone face-off here for Parasite. One and score! It against his fourth team! The post! And into the back of the net! Parasite, a 3-0 advantage. And if you blinked, you would have missed it. Tie up won by Benito. Ardo maybe took 1 or 2 strides and just immediately put that puck on net, beat Latvex clean, and all of a sudden, Parasite have Mustaa with their backs against the wall. Looking for a response. It's a pass from Bobby. Denied there by Tombo. Vatu with possession. Pass across on. Saved by Latvex as Teemu let that one rip. Parasite with another offensive zone face-off here. One shot on from Vatu, brushed aside by Latvex. That was the same exact play pretty much that Ardo had just scored on. He's pulled down the other end. One-time shot goes wide there from Alupekas. Vatu, slap shot to the offensive end. Race for the puck won by Mise, and an icing going to be called. Again, a big result here for both sides. Parasite still in contention for the number 2 seed with Mythics currently holding it. Mustaa could still get up to number 3, but are barely holding on to that 4 seed. Exon breathing down their necks right now, just a few points behind them. You know, Exon would love to see Mustaa drop all of these games here. Again! And Parasite are running away with this one in the second period. A 4-0 advantage now, and we're not even halfway through. And they might not be done. Vatu pass across, shot goes wide. That was Aro again. He was looking for the hat trick against his former team there. Bobby controlling it, hip check there by Teemu, and here comes Parasite again. Teemu putting on a move, finds Vatu, shot! Trick for Vatu, and Parasite up 5-0 in the second period. Three goals for Vatu, 2 goals for Ardo, and Parasite, 5 goals on 10 shots, and they might have another, but Latvex denies Vatu. Another chance for Parasite. Vatu up to Tombo at the point. Gives it to Benito. Back to Tombo. Tombo under pressure from Alupekas and gives it to Teemu. Teemu working, gives it to Benito over at the corner board. Benito turning, down low, behind the net to Vatu again. Up to Tombo at the point. Giving it back to Vatu, puck loose behind the net, and found by Ardo. Giving it back, trying to find Ardo. There was Vatu in front, but broken up, and Mustaa now down the other end. Be controlling in, works it behind the net to Launenay. Turned over, as Parasite have stifled this offense of Mustaa so far. Parasite in the offensive end again now. Tombo at the point there, shot was blocked in front, and here come Mustaa working down the opposite side. Bobby controlling it between the legs. Deke lost control of it, but got it back, as Mise has it now at the right point. Moves it to Alupekas. Pass in front was deflected and blocked there by Vatu, who moved this up to Benito. Parasite with speed. Giving it to Teemu. Teemu working. Checked away there as he tried to work his way to the slot. Mustaa to take over possession. Less than 5 minutes to go in period 2. Parasite up by 5. A 5-0 scoreline in full control of this game. They've got Mustaa in a submission hold right now. As a shot from Benito, found by Latvex, who will play this out, and I don't blame him. Alopekas trying to work it in front. Gives it to Nori Yamal. To Bobby now. Back to Yamal over at the high left faceoff circle. Gives it back to Bobby at the boards. Checked away and found by Parasite. Recovered by Launane from Mustaa. Puck battle for the boards, and coming out with it is Ardo. 90 seconds to go in period 2. Benito to Vatu, trying to find a shot, but nothing there for him. And Mustaa forces the turnover. Less than a minute to go here in period 2. Launane at the right boards. Up to the point to Mise. Now to Nari Yamal. Talupekas. Talupekas going over to Launane. Puck in front found by Tombo. 5 seconds remaining, and an offside going to be called against Parasite. So 3.7 seconds to go. Not likely that we see a shot on net unless it's a really quick opportunity here from Parasite. They do win the face-off as Ardo slaps that one, but it's blocked. And that will do it for period 2. Parasite, a 5-0 advantage over Mustaa. You could argue it could very well be more as look at that glove save there from Latvex. Vatu had a couple of more chances. Could very well be 7. But Parasite showing you why they're the defending champions of the Elite Division. Going up against a team that pushed them the furthest last season. Mustaa took this team to 6 in that Elite Division final. But they have dominated this game really from puck drop. A 5-0 advantage, and you saw the stats there, all in favor of Parasite as well. And so get a look at the 3 goals from that second period. That was the first one, right off that faceoff. Ardo picks it up, rips it on immediately, and beats Latvex. And the second one, the pass in front to Ardo, where he just kind of forced it in. And just minutes after, Vatu being tripped from behind and all, able to get that one past Latvex to make it 5-0. We get set for period number 3. Parasite in full control. Mustaa can just get a little bit of momentum on their side. They gotta feel like a win is pretty far-fetched. We've seen some crazy things happen, however, in this division. Mustaa looking to add one more thing to the list. Parasite having in the offensive zone with Tombo. Works to the Benito. Number 4 for Vatu. Man, he might hunt down Puanzo in this one game alone. 36 goals now this season. And Vatu makes it 6-0 for Parasite. Benito controls it. Another goal. It's with the hat trick. And Parasite puts up a touchdown on the team that they beat in the finals just back in February. Laying the smackdown right now on Mustaa. And that is not something I think anyone expected coming into this series. This is a Mustaa team that, again, really has looked good throughout this season. And we saw it mentioned in the chat. They played Parasite really well throughout that 6-game series up until game 6. That was where Parasite really took this game over and really took the series over. They were able to clinch with a blowout game 6 win, and Mustaa, they were hoping to come into the day and maybe exercise some of those demons. Well, so far, they have come right back to haunt them. A 7-0 lead, and we still have over 13 minutes to go in period number 3. Mustaa have possession in the offensive zone, but turn it over. As Teemu has it, and starts to break in here for Parasite, who, if you know this team, they're not going to let up just because they're up 7-0. As here comes Mustaa there, as Bobby tried to get a good shot, but went well wide as Parasite get it behind the net, and Teemu will start to break in with Benito now. Benito passes it across over to Vatu, but it's turned over as he was tied up. Here comes Mustaa, 2-on-1, pass in front, and they score. Launine breaks the shutout here for Mustaa at least. His 12th goal on the season. Gets his team on the board. So no shutout there for Unique, but still a 6-goal lead. 7-1 now your score. And Parasite go down the other end almost immediately. Tombo's shot saved by Latvex. Puck found in front, however, by Latvex, and he'll play it out. Approaching the 9-minute mark here in the third. Alapeka's at the right boards. Pass in front. Our Bobby this time. The wingers. Alapeka's getting it across over to Bobby. Back-to-back goals now. Here for Mustaa. So they trim that lead from 7 down to 5. Again, still an extremely tall mountain to climb as another pass across. That time was picked off by Tombo, but nevertheless, Parasite take over possession. Benito with it, trying to work it in front, but couldn't get it off cleanly. As Teemu takes a big hit there from Bobby. He's still picking himself off the ground. Benito controls it, finds his way to Teemu. Teemu's shot blocked in front by Mise. Behind the net now is Vatu. Poke checked away. Found by Ardo. Ardo trying to pass it over to Vatu for the one-timer, but disrupted by Mustaa. Approaching the 5-minute mark here in the third period. Parasite in full control, up 7-2. Alapeka's trying to find it down the Launine, but it's picked off. And a breakaway here for Vatu. Backhand, and he scores. A 5-goal performance for one of the most prolific goal scorers in all of Europe. Vatu makes it 8-2 for Parasite. And Parasite looking for more potentially, but dumped in and picked up by Mise. 2-on-1 from Mustaa. Alapeka's with a shot, and they score! Alapeka snipes it past Unique. And Mustaa, they found their goal-scoring touch a little bit too late, unfortunately. 3 goals in the last few minutes. Parasite pass in front there, picked off. They were looking for Vatu, a double hat trick potentially. Bobby controlling it, a delayed penalty going to be called against Parasite as Alapeka's has it at the corner. Gives it to Bobby, now to Nariamal at the point, trying to feed Alapeka's on the one-timer, but picked off in a power play. Now coming up here for Mustaa. Talked about the penalty kill of Parasite, the best in the division coming into the day. At 92.3%. They're the only team in the division north of 90% on the PK. Mustaa, the 4th worst power play in the division at 19.4. Surprising for a team that is dynamic offensively as a shot on. There goes wide for Mustaa. They look to start the break in with 45 seconds to go. Trolling it is Bobby. Gets it back to Nariamal at the point, skating for, looking for a shot. One-timer! Bobby with his 2nd goal. And Mustaa, well, they won't be able to say that they didn't score. 4 goals here in the third period. And all of them pretty well earned, but Parasite gonna have a dominant win regardless as the backhand shot saved by Latvex. That was Vatu. As here comes Alapeka's another chance. And are we gonna get a penalty shot? Yes, we will. As Alapeka's will get set to have a penalty shot against Unique. Alapeka's leads this team in points. That's why he wears the gold helmet. As here we go. Alapeka's backhand read all the way through by Unique. Didn't sell that one enough. Committed to that right board, and Unique did the same. An offensive zone face-off here with 24 seconds left for Mustaa. 1 in the defensive zone by Parasite. Here comes Parasite. Pass in front, one-timer blocked. Parasite still pushing. One from the point, saved by Latvex. Nariamal picks it up, and here comes Mustaa, 3-on-2. Just seconds remaining. as a pass in front picked off by Tombo. Gives it up to Teemu, up to Ardo. Big hit there from Laudane on his former teammate as the buzzer will sound and Parasite win it in dominant fashion, an 8-4 victory over Mustaa Kultaa. Not a game that either goalie's going to want to remember fondly, but the offenses had to have loved what they saw. Vatu with a stellar performance along with Ardo to bring it back into the booth. Brandon B, Major Bigsby with you. Parasite dominant over Mustaa Kultaa in game number 1, 8-4. And again, if you weren't with us earlier on, that is a big result because Parasite came in just 4 points outside of the number 2 spot, and they were 3 points ahead of Mustaa Kultaa for number 3. That 3 points in the standings moves them a little bit closer to that number 2 spot. And man, for Mustaa Kultaa, they came in 5-3-2 in their last 10 games. They are really struggling here after such a hot start to the season. Exton has to be licking their chops right behind them, and now with a game in hand, just 2 points shy of taking over that number 4 spot. So this is a big game 4 of our coverage coming up between Parasite and Mustaa Kultaa. Before we get that kicked off, we're going to take a short break, hear a word from our sponsors, catch our breath a bit, let these teams get things set up. But when we come back, the 4th and final game of our coverage, Parasite versus Mustaa Kultaa once again. So don't go away. Be right back in just a few minutes.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from Wellnet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.
minkä päällä lakukastike maistuu parhaalta? Ei voi tietää, ellei kokeile. Kouvolan lakritsi.
The teams are ready to go, and so are we. The fourth and final game of our coverage here today, the second game. This series between Mustaa and Parasite. We are, again, watching from the perspective of Mustaa. They are the home side, wearing their all-black uniforms, while Parasite, the road team, in their white and reds. It's Parasite coming off the dominant 8-4 victory. Looking to keep the good times rolling. Here is a shot from Teemu, gloved in by Latvex. We'll hold on for the whistle. While we had that game going on, we've had a couple of results fall in. A little bit of an upset. Mythics, who came into the day holding that number 2 spot, fall to the Blackjacks 2-1 in regulation. So that is a big result for not only Last Dance, but obviously for Parasite as well. With them just winning that game, Mythics dropping a couple of points, that puts Parasite just 1 point shy of that number 2 spot. So a big result there for Parasite as they look to add on to their point tally here in this second game against Mustaa. Mustaa had it in the offensive zone, but it's turned over, and here's a chance here. Vatu with it, but broken up. Mustaa not able to clear their own. Spinning backhand there goes wide. Mustaa do pick it up, but still not able to get out of their own end. Tombo with it at the point. Shot on from Ardo right into the chest of Latvex, and he'll freeze it. 14:38 to go here in period number 1. An offensive zone face-off now coming up for Parasite once again. Laudane and Benito both at the dot. 51% face-off percentage coming in today. Laudane at just 45%. He was able to win that one, however. Not able to do much with it. Parasite had the offensive zone. A glove save from Latvex. Teemu let that one rip for the point, and another face-off coming up now. This one be to the right of Latvex. Won by Benito as a shot off the mask of Latvex. Full pressure here for Parasite. As a shot in front, they score! Benito, the captain, kicks it off for Parasite here in game 2. So Benito, who didn't score in that first game out of those 8 goals, gets his 25th of the season. A 1-0 lead for his Parasite team. And in terms of the way this game has looked, it's very familiar to how game 1 started, but a breakaway for Mustaa. Lepeka shot saved by Unique. Mustaa still pushing, however. Nisei at the right point. Has some space, gives it up to Laudane, up to the point now to Nari Yamal. Yamal looking, under duress and forced to reset, and it's turned over. A breakaway for Aros, toe drag move, saved there by Latvex. Another chance there, but turned over. Now Lepeka controls it from Mustaa, but his pass is picked off. Teemu with a shot from the high slot, another chance, but it's picked up by Nisei. Nisei with speed up the right boards. Trying to work his way past Tombo, but poke checked away and found by Nari Yamal. Mustaa slowed things down. 8 minutes to go here in period 1. Parasite with a 1-0 advantage as Bobby has it. Shot from the slot was poke check before he could get off his stick, as here comes Parasite down the other end. Lot 2 puts on a move. Poke check there as he's defended well, and Mustaa now to counter. Bobby at the left boards, trying to work it down low, but picked off by Teemu. Lot 2 possessing it and giving it to Ardu and giving it over to Benito. Benito with the quick flick of the wrist doubles the lead for Parasite. 2-0 now to score. And how about Benito? He's just one of those guys that even when he seems quiet, he's not really. He's gonna come up at some point. He's inevitable, and you saw him right there once again. Back-to-back goals for his team. And Parasite looking to push it further as Teemu takes a big hit at the point, but Benito cleans it up. Has it at the point now and goes down low. Teemu gets it back from Tombo at the corner. Looking for an option to pass. Tied up at the boards, puck loose, and found again by Vatu. Picked up by Benito again, but turned over, and here comes Mustaa potentially with numbers. Bobby at the left side with speed, but poke checked off of his stick and picked up by Ardo. Less than 3 minutes to go here in period 1. Parasite in control, a 2-0 lead. Both goals courtesy of Benito. And Vatu has it at the left corner, goes down low, pass in front there, disrupted. Mustaa looking to counter. Bobby with a move. Bobby in front, can't keep the puck. Lauderdale with the dancing from Bobby. Cut the lead in half. 2-1 now the score. He even had me fooled on that play. A beautiful move from Bobby. He was a transfer mid-season, came over from Exon, struggled with that team, but it's been stellar with Mustaa showing off the skill on that play. I don't know how he kept that puck on his stick. It's like it was glued to him. But nevertheless, they cut the lead in half. As a shot in front from Vatu is stopped by Latvex, and he'll hold on for the stoppage. Face off to the right side of Latvex. One in the defensive zone by Mustaa, and that will do it for an action-packed period 1. Parasite, a 2-1 lead. Both goals from their center and captain Benito, but Mustaa keeping things a little bit tighter. That late goal there to end the period on this beautiful move from Bobby. Finding Lauderdale over on that opposite side on a behind pass that he wasn't even really facing towards him. I mean, it was a crazy play, but it worked all the same. 2-1 score as Parasite. They've been the dominant team, but Mustaa hanging in. As you get a quick look at the stats, 8-2 in 4.5 minutes of time on attack compared to just 2. Parasite, the dominant team so far, but we'll see if Mustaa to have a response. As we're underway for period 2, we want to shout out our sponsors once again, COVID on Lacracy, Game Changer, and WellNet for their support of the ECL and SportsGamer. We would not be here without them. Make sure you go give them the support that they give us. As Parasite have it in the offensive zone right now, and Benito moves it up to Teemu at the point. Teemu, one-timer from Leitinen there. That's Tombo. Look wide. Teemu at the point again. Gives it back to Tombo. Pass in front to Arnold. Shot saved by Latvex. Puck loose in front, found by Bobby. He'll work it back to Nari Yamal, who was pressured by Ardo. It up now with space, but Bobby was past the blue line and now lead to an offside call. Neutral zone face-off now coming up. Lauderdale wins it in the neutral zone from Mustaa. They cross the blue line, but not for long. As here comes Vatu for Parasite. To Ardo. Now to Teemu. At the boards, is it back to Tombo at the point, skates forward, pass shot in front, and it works its way through! Benito will get credit for the goal. That'll give him a hat trick. As it was a soft little kind of shot pass that got tipped in front. They'll say it was unassisted as well. Would love to get a look at how that one went in before this one's over, but Parasite not going to complain, squeaks its way through Latvex, and a 3-1 lead now for Parasite here in the second period. Mustaa looking to respond. Bobby at the left boards, works it back to the point to Nari Yamal. Goes to Lauderdale now. Lauderdale with the 1 goal for Mustaa in this game. It's turned over. Parasite take over possession. Teemu controls it and gives it up to Benito, now to Ardo. Now back to Tombo at the point. Tombo to Ardo, now down low. Teemu gets it and finds Vatu again. The quick passing, effective for Parasite. Working it around the pass and shot in front was saved by Latvex. Kultaa working down the other end. Turned over in the offensive zone, but picked up in the neutral by Bobby. Finds Launine. Bobby gets it back, tried to pass it backwards, finds Alapeka, shot blocked in front. As Ardo controls it for Parasite. Now goes over to Vatu, who gets it back to Tombo, who will slow things down and reset. Over halfway through this game, much closer game than what we saw in game 1. Parasite up by 2, a 3-1 score. All 3 goals by Benito as a shot from Teemu at the point, saved off the stick of Latvex. Parasite forced to reset, but get it back in quickly. Vatu pass across, shot goes wide. That was Ardo. Vatu pass in front, puck loose, found by Mise. Kultaa not able to get it out, however, just yet. As Nariamal controls it and finds Bobby upwards in the neutral zone. Alupekas will give it back and reset it here. Nariamal and Mise controlling the breakouts. 6 minutes to go here in period 2. Nariamal tried to slap that in, but wasn't able to cleanly. Combo controls it for Parasite. Turned over, a potential 2-on-1 or 3-on-2. Alupeka's with it, shot on, blocked there by Tombo. Here comes Parasite down the other end. Teemu up to Vatu. Vatu trying to put on a move, but disrupted. Gets it back behind the net, however. Teemu at the point. Pressured. Finds Tombo now. Pass in front. Puck loose and recovered by Launine. Kultaa looking to get out, and they do. With speed up the right boards is Alupekas, but poke checked off the stick by Benito and picked up by Parasite in their own end. 2.5 minutes to go here in the second. Teemu gets the pass from Benito, puts on a move, still controls it. Finds his way to Vatu, but turned over, and Alupekas takes control from Kultaa. On the neutral zone, past the blue line. Turned over once again. Kultaa just not able to establish the offensive zone right now. Parasite giving him a world of trouble defensively. 15 seconds. Tombo in the neutral zone, slaps it in. Puck given chase and won by Ardo. Trying to pass it over to Vatu, but was picked off. And that will do it for the second period. 40 minutes through, Parasite with a 3-1 lead over Kultaa. Benito with the hat-trick goal earlier on in this second period. Double Parasite's lead back to 2. Here's another look at the replay here, potentially. Not sure if it'll be after this one or the next one. Yeah, looks like right. Oh, that's the save. So we won't get a replay of that goal, unfortunately, but we'll love to see how that one went in. As they didn't count it as a assisted goals, unassisted for Benito, despite it being originally a shot from the point. It hit in off of Benito and through the pads of Latvex. We'll see if we ever do get a look at it. If not, then I guess some things aren't meant for us to find out. Some things in life are a mystery, and that's okay. But nevertheless, third period coming up. Parasite, a 3-1 lead over Kultaa. Looking to hold on for the clean sweep of this series. Won 8-4 in game number 1. And a victory in this game will push them to second in the standings over Mythics after Mythics dropped their first game against the Blackjacks 2-1 in regulation a little bit early. Kultaa say not so with the goal. And just like that, the lead's back down to 1. 3-2, now your score. And Kultaa with possession here again. 2 goals on 3 shots. You gotta feel for Nike. 60 save percentage in game 1. None of those goals are really his fault either. Currently a 33 save percentage right now as Latvex will get a hold on that puck and will stop play. 9 saves on 12 shots for him. as Parasite gets set for an offensive zone faceoff. Tied up, one by Parasite. Benito shot, he scores! Snipes it past left back. His fourth goal of the game. He is carrying his team, and Parasite back by 2 once again. Four to 2 to score. And maybe not done, or Parasite! And for the captain. And right when Mustaa thought they had the momentum on their side, Parasite punches the gas. And it's Benito who is at the wheel. All 5 goals come from him after not scoring any of the 8 goals in the first game. He has 29 now on the season. And Parasite still pushing here. Vatu with it at the corner, trying to feed it back to Benito, who now has it. Works his way up to the point. Skating around, holding it. Is he going to do it himself? No, he'll pass it out. Tombo at the point, skates forward, pass, shot on, saved by Latvex. Turned over by Mustaa, shot from Vatu, saved by Latvex, who will find it and hold on for the stoppage. Mustaa will call a timeout. As you saw, that full pressure meter was full for Parasite. They were going to have it there if they won that faceoff. And my goodness, Parasite, I mean, they have just dominated this game. Really, this whole series. 17 shots to 3 in their favor. 10.5 minutes of time on attack to 3.5 minutes. I mean, it has been all Parasite throughout this series, and I mean, we've seen it mentioned there in the chat. Shout out to Vatty. That trap for Parasite, it's one of the best that you'll find in all of Europe, arguably in the world, and it has infected the offense of Mustaa that has been heralded as one of the better offenses in the division over the last couple of seasons, but not much going for them here so far today. They have it in the offensive zone now, but immediately turn it over. Here comes Teemu with speed for Parasite. Hazardo with him. Working into the slot. Saved there, or excuse me, blocked on that shot from Teemu. Parasite retake possession, tried to move it up to Ardo, but disrupt. There's a big hit on the boards there. Nariamal slow getting up, and Parasite trying to capitalize. Ardo tried to pass down in front, but nothing was there for him, and Mustaa now working down the opposite end. In the offensive zone now, Mustaa. Bisay working with Nariamal at the point, finds Launane, one-timer, and they score! Bobby beats Unique. And all of a sudden, Mustaa still alive in this one. They cut the lead down to 2. 5-3 now the score, and still 8.5 minutes to play. So we're not done here yet. Parasite still have some business to take care of, as they have it in the offensive zone now. Vatu pressure from behind and lost it. Puck battled for behind the net and found by Mustaa. Bobby had it for a moment there on the rush, but it's poke checked off of his stick. Here's Benito. All 5 goals, we make it 6. Pass off of the pad of Latvex. And Mustaa now will go on the rush down the other end. Bobby at the left boards, gives it back to Launane in front. Disrupted, however, and picked up by Tombo for Parasite. Moving up to Vatu. 3-on-2. Vatu one-time shot to Teemu. Puck still in front and found by Latvex, who will freeze it. You got a nice little snow shower at the end for his troubles. 5:11 to go in regulation. Mustaa down by a pair. Full pressure now for Parasite in the offensive zone. Benito works it to Ardo and gets it back. Ardo one-time shot to Tombo, saved by Latvex. Another shot, another save. Latvex has been one of the bright spots today for Mustaa. And another shot and they score! Ardo on the one-timer. And a little Michael Jordan shrug to top it off. He had a hat trick in game 1. He gets his first goal of game 2. And any hopes that Mustaa might have just gone out of the window right there. And they had to watch the man that transferred off of their team, the Parasite, over the offseason, potentially put those hopes to rest. A 6-3 lead for Parasite, and they're looking for more as a shot in front blocked. Another shot saved, this time by Latvex. Mustaa to have it. Bobby at the left boards, passes it off to Launane behind the net. Launane stops, looks, shot on the side of the net. Puck loose in front, poked, looking, scrum for, and found by Teemu. A minute to go. Parasite in full control of this game. A 6-3 lead. It's an offside called on Parasite with 55.1 seconds remaining. Face-off won by Mustaa. Goes all the way down behind Parasite's net. Tombo will slap this one all the way in to Ardo, who has it picked off. 42 seconds now. Now Lupeka's looking, gives it back to Launane. Launane working, skates back, shot on, save made by Unique. Latu works up the left boards with speed. 30 seconds to go. Parasite in the offensive end. Nice little move from Ardo, but not able to get a shot off cleanly. Has a one-on-one here. Nice little windmill deke from Alupecas. Alupeka spins, turns, disrupted. Great defensive play there made by Parasite. Teemu stops at the point, gives it up to Benito, who tried to feed Ardo. It's turned over. Parasite finds it again. Benito over to Vatu. Puck loose in front. Cleared out. 2 seconds remaining, and that will do it. Parasite, a clean sweep of Mustaa. A finals rematch sees a similar result. A Parasite series win, 6-3 in game number 2. A dominant performance by the defending champs, showing you exactly why they are the favorites to win it all once again this season. And boy, poor Unique, just 2 saves and a 40 save percentage. Deserved a lot better than what he had there, but a dominant performance for Parasite, a 6-3 win after they had an 8-4 win in the game before. Bring it back into the booth at least one more time. Brandon B. Major Bigsby with you. How about Parasite? Dominant, dominant, dominant. They take full control of the number 2 spot in the standings. And again, we mentioned it. This was a finals rematch from a season ago. This was one of the more highly anticipated series coming into the regular season. And for those that were not with us for that final back in February, remember, Mustaa pushed Parasite to 6. This is a Parasite team that had a grand total of a whopping 78 points in the regular season standings. They had 1 loss the entire season out of the 28 games they played. They dominated in the playoffs, swept the first round, 1-5 in the semifinals, but Mustaa pushed them to 6. That was a very competitive matchup, really all the way until that final game where Parasite won game 6, 8-0. That was really the lone game where things got a little bit skewed towards Parasite. It was a blowout in game 1. Mustaa kept things rather close there in game number 2, but never were really able to pull in close enough to make things that tight. Parasite pick up all 6 points, and all of a sudden, things getting really interesting now at the top of the table. And before we do sign off, we are going to give you one more look at the standings as things currently stand. So, as we mentioned, the big story, that race in the top 4, and then that race really for the final few playoff spots. Exxon have officially clinched their spot in the playoffs after the results today. They are in. They are locked in. It would take something beyond catastrophic for them not to. Their chances were at 98% going into the day. They now are at 100% after picking up 5 points against V-Nexus. So they are locked in. No one can pass them. Exxon is a playoff team for the 3rd straight season. Really, the biggest results where things shifted. Polski boys over on the right side of the board pick up 5 points in their series against the Blackjacks. They have not gotten that other win in. So they're at 24 games played with 34 points. They are 1 point shy of Goons and Hymo and they're also just 2 points shy of Totori. If I'm correct, I believe I saw this on their social media. They were playing their series with Blackbirds right after the series that we covered against the Blackjacks. So I believe they are playing right now. Does not look like they have any of those results in as of now. But Polski boys could very well move their way over to the left side of the board by the end of the day. Another big result, Nova moved their way out of the 16 spot. That was to be expected with them having so many games in hand over Vapor. Still 11 games to play. They got a big win a couple of days ago, actually. 2 wins over Vapor, and they were able to get some wins as well against Onsei Esports, only 1 point shy of them. So not only are Nova in good position to avoid the automatic relegation spot, but still have a pretty fair shot at being able to work their way out of a relegation playoff in general. Remember, for those not familiar, 13, 14, and 15 will play the semifinal losers and the finalist loser in the Pro Series or the Pro Division to keep their spot in Elite. So 13, 14, and 15 will have to play the loser of the Pro Division final, while 14 and 13 will play the 2 semifinal losers in the Pro Division. So you want to avoid that because you want to make sure you're locked into this top tier. So that 12 to 9 spot, if you're not going to make the playoffs, is ideally where you want to be. Polski boys in a good position to even avoid all of that, even if they don't make the playoffs. You can say the same thing for VNexus, really, as well as SSK Esports due to the games that they have in hand. It really comes down to that last spot between Blackbirds, the Blackjacks, Onsei Esports, and Nova. Vapor, very small chance of cracking into that top 12, more than likely going to have to, at best, play in a relegation series. And the way things are looking right now, just 4 games to play, and Nova having plenty of games in hand, Vapor look like they will more than likely be relegated out of the Elite Division, barring a miraculous change of circumstances. And also, Mythics, big result for them. You see, they've had a couple of games played, did not really increase their gap much to Parasite. Parasite will get those 3 extra points in, so they're only 1 point shy of Mythics with 2 games in hand. So a lot of things changing. Kultaa held pointless today. Really significant results throughout the Elite Division table. So we wanted to make sure that we took a little bit of time, broke everything down as we head into the final 2 days of the season. We will not be live tomorrow, but we will be back live here on Wednesday. We will not be live for ECL Elite Division coverage. However, the reason, our SG World Cup 2025, the first time ever that SportsGamer is ever doing this. A big shout out to Stopoli as well as Ken for organizing this and putting this on. Multiple countries that will be facing off against each other, not just in Europe, but throughout the world. You see Canada and you see the United States right there. There's also an SG World team to represent all of the players from countries that are not represented. They will be in that SG World team with that SportsGamer logo all the way to the right side. And you see all the different representatives: Austria, Canada, Czechia, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Great Britain, Austria, Norway, Slovakia, Sweden, Switzerland, Ukraine, the United States, and then that SG World team that we mentioned. This is going to be such an awesome event. It kicks off tomorrow, goes all the way up to May 18th. So make sure, Latvia, excuse me on that, not Austria, my apologies. But nevertheless, make sure you keep in touch with that. We will have everything updated. Make sure to follow our social media. Make sure to follow us on Twitch because we'll have some coverage of the SG World Cup throughout the tournament as well. It will be kicking off tomorrow, and then we'll be right back here on Wednesday for Decision Day of the ECL Elite Division. We will have all the final standings. We'll have all the final results. Everything that you need to see, we will have it right here live on twitch.tv/sportsgamergg. You can also find us live on Twitter at sportsgamergg and on our YouTube at sportsgamergg. But this SG World Cup, folks, this is something that we have not seen before. We've seen it on the 1v1 side. We have not seen it on the 6v6 side. All of the teams are being announced on our social medias. So you can go to at SportsGamerGG, follow us on X if you want to keep up with all of that. We'll also have some coverage of the tournament going on as well. That's why we're going to take a bit of a break for a couple of weeks from the ECL action so we can focus on this international tournament. So guys, do not miss this. It is a first time thing. A lot of work has gone in behind the scenes on it. Again, a big shout out to both Ken and Sopley, who have been two of the main men that have been running this thing, all the captains, they have gotten things together. We're going to have a ton of great coverage for that. So make sure you are right here with us at SportsGamer GG to see that tournament over the next 13 days. How fun was this broadcast here today? Again, we'll be right back here on Wednesday for more ECL Elite Division action, 1945 CEST. As decision day, we will know our 8 playoff teams. We will know which teams are safe from a relegation series. We'll know which teams have to keep their way in the Elite Division in a couple of weeks. And we will know which team will see their Elite Division journey come to an end. But for now, that is all we have here at SportsGamer. For everyone at SportsGamer GG, a big thank you to the staff that make everything happen behind the scenes. A big shout out to our producer, Chris Ryan, for putting on this thing. Trust me, I am not smart enough to do this myself. He is the man behind all the magic that you see, all the graphics and everything of that nature. A big thank you to him for his work. A shout out to our sponsors, COVID Unlocked, Game Changer, and WellNet for their generous support. For everyone at SportsGamer, my name is B Major. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you guys right back here on Wednesday for the final day of the regular season.
Welcome to the SportsGamer Health and Performance Program. Nice to have you here. Here you have a large amount of different workouts from WellNet, but also material just exclusive for you gamers. In your sessions, we focus mostly on neck and shoulder mobility, back health, and concentration. So give it a try and let us know what you think about it.